So you are here today because you're curious, well, with the COVID, and it is still important, how in the world do I get listings without infecting myself and being around their germs? So we're here to learn more, some skills on how to do a virtual listing appointment. And it's not just virtual, it's also just some of the steps that I do in preparing for a listing presentation. And we're glad to have Angela with us. Angela's been an agent in our office for, I think, 7 years, and has been on the ALC. She is very dedicated and has been doing several listing appointments and gotten, I think, all your listings, haven't you? That you done virtually?
2 out of 3. One is still, she's thinking about it.
There you go. So great news. So if you have a question, you're welcome to chime in and just unmute yourself and then mute yourself back, or you can put it in the chat button and I'll regulate the chat and make sure that we get all the questions answered. Okay. So Angela, take it away. Thank you.
So I was telling Julianne that I'm going to start from the beginning because I know some of you, like I just spoke with Janice, have never done a listing presentation before. So I want to go ahead and start and just on how to prepare for a listing, the research that you would do. So does anyone have an address that they want to use as a fake, is a real address, but as a fake listing?
Test?
As a test. Julianne, we can use yours.
You bet. 112 Cedar Woods Trail in Canton.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. There's a couple places that I go to do the comps and to start the preparation. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I start an FMLS. Go into residential. So I open up Realist for all the tax information. I go into Matrix so that I can get the comps, and then I go to RPR for more neighborhood information. And I'll show all of that to you in a second. Are you guys familiar with Realist and RPR? Anyone not know this and I need to slow down?
I think a few may not know RPR.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with RPR.
Okay. So RPR is Realty Property Resource. Let me go out. I go into Google and just type in RPR and it'll bring up the website. And it's linked to our MLS. And so it'll pull data from the MLS that we need.
And the difference between an RPR and an AVM? So
are you asking me? Oh.
Well, I just want to make sure that we explain the difference between the two, because, for example, Zillow does AVM, and it's what's the A stand for? Can't remember. I'm having a brain fart. But it's a guesstimate or a zestimate, as it were, whereas with RPR, they do more of a real, because you can add value in and you can get a better analysis of value. I just want to explain what it was.
I'm sorry. Can I ask a quick question? Do I need to create a new account or enter my credentials for Keller Williams?
Yes.
Or how do I get?
Yes.
So you need your NERS number, your NRDS number.
Okay.
That way it recognizes you as a realtor and it'll give you all the access. So it's kind of like when you set up FMLS or set up anything, it'll give you all the access as a realtor. your number.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I am here, and then I have all the tax information here just to verify. So this one is in the Bridge Mill subdivision. And then I go to matrix. I'm going to put in the subdivision name because I want to look at all the sales in the last 6 months in that subdivision.
Get rid of the Woodlands. Woodlands is not correct. It's Bridgeville.
And I was going to show, so let me undo that. When I put in that whole sentence or the Bridge Mill Woodlands, you come down here and you say it's 0 matches. So then you come up and you remove the Woodlands part. Sometimes your subdivisions will have, I have a condo that's, the subdivision is Park Lane, but some people enter it in Park Lane on Peachtree. And so if you just enter in Park Lane, you wouldn't get all of it because some of the listings have Park Lane on Peachtree. So you would do an asterisk before or after Bridge Mill if you think Bridge Mill is a part of the subdivision name. And this one is in Canton, so I'm going to specify Canton just to narrow down the list. And we have 184 matches. That's a lot.
Yep. It's a big neighborhood.
And so I'm comparing apples to apples. So
But you also had attached in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm, Julianne.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. I'm going to mute myself right now. Thank you very much.
Please do. I go to the tax records so that I can verify that it is a single family detached and that it's 5 bedrooms. I'm only comparing 5-bedroom homes when I'm looking at my comps. So I'm going to go back to matrix and I'm going to undo attached and I'm going to specify that I'm looking for 5 bedrooms. And then I look at the results, it's 54 results. It's still a lot of results. So I'm going to narrow it down a little bit more. This one is 5,600 square feet. So I want to narrow it down to houses that are going to be similar to this one. Looking at the tax records, this one, let me see, is on a finished basement. So right here, I see that it has a finished basement. So now I'm going to go to matrix. And I'm going to compare this to other properties that have a finished basement. And that brings us down to 38 matches. So the more things that we put in to narrow down our search so that we're, again, comparing apples to apples, because a 5-bedroom with a basement is going to sell for a different price than a 5-bedroom on a slab. 5-bedroom in Bridge Mill is going to sell differently from a 5-bedroom in another subdivision. So we want, if we have a lot of options, we want to keep filtering down so that we have a good selection to compare this property to. And then I'm going to go just a step further and do 5,000 to 6,000 square feet. Because this one was 5,600 square feet. So I want to get in that range to from 5 to 6,000. And now we have 7 homes. Your quick CMA will give you an overview. So it'll tell you your days on market for those that sold, 2 that have sold. It'll tell you the average sales to list price, the average sales price for that subdivision, and then also what the sellers have paid on average for closing costs. And that's good to kind of give your seller a heads up as far as time on the market, how closely priced you should be, what the range is, and then also give them an idea that people are asking for closing costs and on average is $4,000 so that they're prepared when they receive an offer. If there's closing costs in there, it's not a surprise. So I'm using this first. And then I'm also going to Cloud CMA. Cloud CMA would allow us to do, it gives us the same information. It's just a little prettier. I'm going to make up a name. Once you enter in the address, if it's been in an MLS before, sometimes it auto-populates, sometimes it doesn't. So this auto-populated the square footage, bedroom and bath. I'm assuming that square footage, the 5,600 included the basement because the basement is finished. Down here are the listings, those 7 listings. And then we're going to go ahead and create our report. And one of the reasons why I like this one as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How did you get the listings to populate on them? They're populate by themselves. I normally have to go in and key them.
So
I
here
mean,
I selected
on the Cloud CMA.
Cloud CMA is pulling in the listings that I've selected here. So right now I have all 7 selected. And then when I go to Cloud CMA, all 7 are going to be in the report.
I'll be darned. Okay. I wonder why I might not be selecting them. Maybe that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, I think you may only have it selected on the one that you want, as opposed to the whole list of actives, pendings, withdrawals, expires, and closed. So make sure you have all checked.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So up here, you can play around with your colors and your fonts and the way that it's set up. To the left, you can add more things into your report, or you can remove things from your report. So you can play around with that just so that you know what it is that you're presenting. They have tons, they have new things all the time. Some of them you have to pay for. So the premium stuff, obviously there's a fee, but there's a lot of free stuff. A premium you have to pay for. There's a lot of free stuff where you don't have to go to premium. And it's going to create your report, and it's 3 types of reports that it creates. So you have a slideshow. So when you're doing your presentation, since everything's virtual, you can have the slideshow and you can go through everything. This shows a map of where all the properties are in the subdivision. The purple one is where this house is, and then it shows in relationship to this house where the other ones are. We go to the sold homes, and it'll pull up the pictures so that you'll be able to show the client what that house looks like. Because they may have seen the sign, but they may not have gone inside. So if there's a question about upgrades, you will have the photos to show, okay, this house was upgraded, this bathroom was not upgraded. So if yours is, it may be worth a little more. If yours isn't, this is a good comp for it. Again, you can look at the pictures and scroll through everything that's in the MLS. Same for the pending and the active homes. So I like this because it's pretty, it's colorful, it's full of information. With the withdrawn listings, it gives the same information. Here you have a summary for the 2 days on market. The house has got 100% of their asking price on average. It will break down also here your price per square foot. Some people, like your high Ds who are all about numbers, they want to know price per square foot. So you may want to have that in your back pocket in the event that that question is asked. So you have your list to sales price percentage, your days on market, and then your price per square foot. And then the rest is what they do to prepare. So I like to have that one up as well. It's the same information, but this is drier. It doesn't give you any indication as to what that property looked like and why it sold so quickly or why it stayed on the market so long. So I like to have that Cloud CMA up as well. And then, so once we see here, oops, we could also see that as a PDF instead of a slideshow. The PDF is going to have everything. So when we went back to the page that had the premium options, sorry. This section to the left is going to be in the PDF form. So it has my introductory letter to the sellers, my real estate resume, and all of this is stuff that I created. So you can put it in however you want. You can put it in the order that you want. This is just the way that mine is. I have meet my team, so an introduction as to who I work with. So even if you're an individual agent, you still have a team because you have a photographer, you may have a contract to close coordinator. Who else do I have here? You have a lender. So that's part of your team. And then it goes again into the same information with the active listings, the square footage, price per square foot, et cetera. The average sale in this neighborhood is $560. And it's already including this property, Julianne's property is already on the market. So it's including her property in that $560. On RPR, again, because this is listed, this price, the list price is $530. If it wasn't listed, it would give you a range. Right here, it tells you the last time it was sold, the details on the property, 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, single family home, square footage. It's been on the market for 2 days. It'll give you all the photos. This is the extremely detailed version. So it'll break down who lives in the neighborhood, what the historical data is for that neighborhood, the ratings for the schools. So again, if you have somebody who's extremely detail oriented, this will blow their mind. You can create reports from here. So up here, you can create a report, and a report based on the property, based on the property report will pull in everything from the neighborhood to give you a CMA. The seller's report will give you more specific about that property and that seller. You can create flyers, workbooks, all kinds of things. I typically stick with the property report, and I'll give you an example of what a property report looks like. This is one that I did last week. And so again, it's going to go into all the home facts. This wasn't expired. So you'll see the previous list price was $274.9, but where it should be is around $256. So this one, the reason why it expired, because it was overpriced. It was extremely overpriced for the neighborhood. It'll give you the details about the property. Again, that's where you get that tax information. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I just want to make sure I get everything in for you guys. These were the previous photos from the MLS. Because again, it's pulling all of our information from the MLS. How does this house compare to properties in the zip code, and the county, and in the state? So to give you a little range, it'll tell you all the sales data. So this particular owner bought it in February of 18, so 2 years ago. Sorry, my screen. And this report is like 50 pages long, so I won't go through all of it, but just to give you an idea, there's lots of data in here. And you can go through, this here tells you for the number of bedrooms, what the prices are, for the size, what the price range is. So tons of information in RPR, definitely check that out.
Can you, question Angela, can you narrow what is in that report so that you don't have too much information?
So when you go to here to create your report, you click on details, more details, and here is everything's checked. So if there's something that you don't want, you can uncheck it. Thank you for that question. So everything's checked. I want everything. If there's something that I don't want, then I can go back here and uncheck it and then just recreate the report. So you create a report. It's going to take a couple minutes to do that. You can either send it by email to yourself or send it directly to your client, or you can download it as a PDF and just use it, walk through your presentation. So when I'm doing my presentation, I'm with the client, we're on a Zoom, I'm talking, and I'm sharing my screen with them the same way that I'm sharing it with you. And so I'm gonna go The ones that I've done thus far have been off-market properties, have been expires or withdrawals. And so I'm able to pull up their previous listing and have that data as well. Ooh. So I'm sharing the pictures with them. I'm talking to them about the comps on the property. I'm going through the report same way that I would in person. The only difference is I'm just showing it to them on a computer as opposed to having a paper in front of them. And it's fairly easy to walk through. When you're on Zoom, let me go back up. Does everyone know how to share their screen on Zoom?
That was going to be my question.
Okay, perfect. Down at the bottom of your screen, it's going to say there's a green box with an arrow, and it says share screen. You click that, and you find out which screen you want to share. There's several different things. So when you're going from screen to screen, say like I wanted to show a PDF, something that's already on my computer. I have to stop sharing my screen and then share it again. So I'm going to show you a legal description that I pulled. Does everyone know how to pull a deed as well? I can show you how to do that. So
And while she's doing that, so basically the difference is when you're sharing your screen, if you're still on the internet and you're going to a different site on the internet, you don't have to reshare. But if I was going from the internet to a Word document or something I had on my computer, then you would need to change it or they're not going to see the screen. They're only going to see what you share. And I will be quiet.
So can you see my screen now? This is a legal description that I pulled from Cobb County. Can you see that?
Yes, we see it.
So I had to stop sharing the web screen so that I can pull up the PDF screen. And to get back to the web, I have to stop sharing that screen and then go ahead and open up the other screen. So down at the bottom in that green box is going to say share, and you just figure out what it is that you want to share. Can you see the legal description now? Okay, perfect. So it's not difficult to share your screen. What I recommend is find someone to practice with before you go on your appointment so that when you are sharing your screen, you know what you're doing. And, so that you can flow through the report without having a lot of problems. I can also pull up my desktop. You see my desktop? I almost canceled the meeting. Hold on 1 second. I lost it. Hold on.
There was a question about, does your picture remain? If you have checked in your settings, there's a place for you to check it. And so if you can check if you want to allow your picture to stay as a picture in the top corner, and it will. Okay, so you've got a lot of really cool settings in Zoom. It's really worked out really cool.
Diane asked a question, if it's not an expired or withdrawn, how do you know? So let me find this one. Actually, which screen can you see? Can you see a screen?
What I need to ask, how do you know how to price it?
So what I do is I give a range. Like with the RPR that I just showed, it showed the range of 250 to 270. I will let them know, and that's part of the, you can do a virtual tour with them and have them walk the house with you or you can schedule an appointment to go out and see the house personally to know how to narrow it down. The reason why I say that is because your comps are only going to show you the outside. Your pictures will show you the inside, but if you haven't seen the inside of that specific property, you don't know if it's on the side of needing upgrades or on the side of perfect. The seller will tell you, yeah, I just upgraded the kitchen 2 years ago, or no, I haven't touched it in the last 15 years. You can use that as an example, but really you want to know specifically the condition of the property before you pin down a price. So from the first meeting, I'm giving them a range based on the comps. And I'm looking at the photos to say, okay, these properties were not upgraded, or these properties didn't have the best condition. These properties did. And I'm showing them and asking them, where do you think your house falls? And allowing them to rate it. Is it going to be at the top of the end or the bottom of the end from what has sold? Does that help a little, Diane?
Also, just FYI, I did a listing presentation virtually, and I had them on FaceTime, and then we moved to Zoom, and I had them walk around the house and show it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked questions as I went along. It was really easy to figure out what I needed based on the pictures that I was seeing. So,
Yeah, that's great.
right?
Brenda posted something. Yes, I want to make sure that all of my windows are open. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I wanted to walk you through how to find your data, but with your actual listing appointment, have all of your data open. And so when I have my listing appointment, my screen is already prepared. So I'm not digging and searching for properties. I'm going to have all of these tabs open so that I can just, oops, sorry. So you can just see what it is that I'm trying to share as opposed to me typing something in. So yes, absolutely make sure all of your screens are open. It allows for you to click through a lot faster. The same as when you're at the actual house, you have all your paperwork together and you're not shuffling through papers. Be organized beforehand. Do a trial run so that you know how to use Zoom or whatever platform that you're using and have all of your data together. And it's really no different from a formal listing appointment where we're face-to-face. The only thing different is just knowing how to go through these screens and share your information. I think there was another question. And if I don't see your question, absolutely just say something to me, and I'm trying to follow along and talk at the same time. Oops. While I'm trying to fix my screen, does anybody have any other questions? Is there something else?
How did you sell the value of a virtual appointment versus in person? Did you have any pushback?
No. Actually, it was easier because they didn't have to, most people are home. The scheduling wasn't difficult. It's more convenient for them because we're only seeing each other from here up. Nobody has to get dressed. It's not a hard selling point. And the downloading and the application of Zoom or whatever platform you're using is very easy. I had one who was very technology challenged, but she had kids. So she was able to have her daughter set up the Zoom. Her daughter was 12. They're using it for school. So anybody that has school-age kids, they're using it for school. So most people are familiar with it, but for those that don't, I just signed a listing yesterday and he is 68, I think. We didn't do a Zoom. He's not that technically advanced. We just did ours over the phone. And then when I went to get the keys and the lockbox, that's when I saw the property. And we walked the property and he signed the paperwork. So you can make it work however you want. We talked about everything. I talked about the numbers with him. I talked about the data and how the market is moving. That's another thing I wanted to point out. When I'm calling people and they're curious about how the market is performing right now, I am going back a week. a week's time to be able to let them know what's happening in their market in the last week. And so I wouldn't be this specific with 5 bedrooms, 5,000 square feet. I wouldn't even be that specific with the subdivision. But what I would do is say, in Canton, in the last week, there were 30 properties that were either listed or went under contract, and then break that down for them. Because a lot of people are concerned that the market is not stale, that it's stagnant right now. And so I pulled this to show them that no, people are still moving. Buyers still have to buy, interest rates are low, sellers still have to sell, inventory is low. So it's a prime opportunity for sellers and buyers. And so I would let them know in the last week, there were 13 properties that went on the market, 10 properties that went under contract, and there are 3 that are coming soon. So I would let them and break it down for attached and detached, depending on who your client is. But this purpose right here is just to let them know, again, people are still moving. So there's no hesitation in anything. If there's only 3 actives and one of them is a 5 bedroom, that means you only have one other competition to get your house sold. Now is the perfect time to get it on the market because there's only one other 5 bedroom house in Bridge Mill, in Canton, that's for sale. And for somebody that has to move, they need a place to move, and they're only choosing from 2 5 bedroom homes, yours and this one. And if we price it right, yours is going to be the one they choose. So I always make sure that I'm bringing up that narrow market, specifically in this environment. I wasn't doing it 2 months ago, but specifically in this environment, I'm going down the last 7 days just so that a seller knows people are still selling, people are still buying, and take away that anxiety. At the same token, if it's an occupied property, I'm letting them know we're doing virtual tours, virtual open houses, that we have gloves and masks for buyers that are coming through, and that we're taking safety protocol. All doors should be open, all lights should be on, blinds open, so that when a buyer comes through, they can see the house without actually having to touch anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hey, a question that came up, how long does your listing presentation take when it's virtual? About the same amount of time as it normal, or?
Usually less, because when you first walk in, you're doing small talk, you're walking to taking a tour of the house, you're kind of building rapport. By the time that you're doing this, you're still building rapport, but you're more so focused on the details and the facts. And so it doesn't take as long. I want to say mine have been 20 or 30 minutes, whereas in person it's probably 30 to 45 minutes. So it's cutting out some of that time because I'm not walking through and I'm not doing a lot of small talk. And so it's very quick to go through, and that's why it's best to be prepared. If you're prepared, you can go through, give all the data, talk about the numbers, because it really doesn't take much. If they're interested in selling and you're showing them the data, you're showing them that properties are moving and you price it right, it's not an hour conversation when we're looking at the data. Because it's really like 3 or 4 reports that you're going to show them. And then you're talking about the prep. And so then I'll talk about the prep, what they need to do to get the house ready, what buyers are looking for, and I'll send them I have a checklist from, let me see if I can find it, a checklist from my photographer that I will share with them so that they know what to do to have their house ready for pictures, such as when they clean the stainless steel, to clean it in a certain direction, because otherwise it shows streak marks. Make sure all the light bulbs are in, make sure that all the light bulbs work. So things like that that you wouldn't necessarily think about because you're living in a house and you're used to that light bulb being out. But for a photographer coming in, we want to show everything in its prime. So I'll send that to them as well. There was another question. Oh, we answered that one already. Yeah, so I will send them that as well, just as a checklist so they can start preparing for the photographer that comes out. Statistically, Ashton Lewis, I think her name is, she gave a presentation 2 years ago, and she said, according to the Wall Street Journal, Thursdays are the best days to list a property. I don't know. I didn't follow up to do research. I just took her word for it. So I let my clients know Thursday is the day that we go live. Preferably, everybody's going to be different, but I give them that checklist and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and go on the market, have the photographer come out, go ahead and start the marketing, get yourself ready so that you can be ready to go for Thursday and then have your open house that following weekend. Any other questions?
So do you do anything different
No.
from virtual to in-person presentation other than using a format like Zoom or FaceTime?
No, nothing's different at all.
So out of curiosity, the people that are out there, what are you most afraid of, or what is your biggest concern about doing a virtual appointment?
The most difficult thing that I've had thus far when I'm making phone calls is just persuading them to go to a Zoom meeting. I've had the majority of them say, no, they'd rather just go ahead and meet in person than versus Zoom.
Really?
Yeah.
And what is their reasoning for not wanting to do the Zoom?
Well, the funniest story I've got is a fellow, I said, we set up for a Zoom meeting, and when he didn't show up in the room, I called to ask him if he was coming in. He said, oh, I thought you just meant it was going to be a real fast meeting. So,
So that was you not explaining exactly what.
absolutely, absolutely. But no, I've just had more people say they'd rather meet with me versus Zoom. I don't know why.
So I would specify that I want to do a virtual list. I want to talk to you virtually and explain that, you know, Zoom is the platform, but you want to have a virtual conversation. That way we get to see each other and I can show you what it is that's going on in your neighborhood and what's going on in the market. And that way you can see from the comfort of your home, everything that's happening.
I have a question, Angela.
Yes.
Do you have your listing agreement paperwork completed? When do you do that? Do you have it completed before you do the
Yes.
presentation?
So I will go ahead and like I say, I want to have everything ready, and I should have had that up. I'm sorry. I will have everything ready so that I can explain everything at that time. So if there's questions, I want to go over, let's say, what am I sharing? Can you see the property disclosures? So I will go over everything. Again, the same that I would if I were in front of them. And I would tell them, this is your seller's property disclosure. It's going to ask you several questions about the property. And I want you to go through and answer the questions. And I will walk with them to let them know what needs to be signed, what needs to be checked, and explain where I see the most common questions are, more so in the actual listing agreement, breaking down commission, and I'm going over everything with them, same as I would in person. Can I speak, or am I supposed to? Oh, yes, you can speak. Any other questions?
I have another one.
Yes.
What kind of pushback have you gotten about people walking through the house while it's on the market? Do they want that to not happen, or are they okay with it?
So the people that I've met with, 2 out of the 3, they're actually, so the condo, he just had a newborn. And I was very surprised that he was open to having people come in, but they're going to the in-laws and they're taking precaution. When I came, I brought gloves, I brought masks, and I brought booties. And I have a little hanger that I got from FMLS months back that you put on the door that says, please remove shoes or wear booties when coming into the house. So I had already had some stuff. I brought it, have a little sign as soon as they walk in, acknowledging that we'd like for you to wear these if you don't have them. And I just explained that in the presentation. We're going to take all precautions because my buyers want to be safe, and I want you as my sellers to be safe. So everyone's going to have a mask, everyone's going to have gloves, and everyone's going to have the booties, and we're going to ask that they wear them. Also, I'm making sure that I'm telling them the same things. When we have showings, open up the windows, turn on the lights, open the doors so that a person that's coming through can walk through your house and not have to touch anything. They don't want to touch your stuff as much as you don't want them to touch your stuff. So when looking in the closets or opening the pantry or looking behind the shower curtain, just go ahead and make it easy for them so that they don't have to touch it. So I
Right.
haven't had any pushback as a result of just telling them that. I'm bringing the supplies so they don't have to buy anything. And I'm letting them know that we're going to make sure that there's going to be safety precautions. And most people understand that.
Right.
Those that want to sell right now and are motivated to sell right now will go ahead and do that. Those that are waiting out Corona will just wait out Corona and won't allow anybody in the house. That's
Right.
what I'm finding.
It's a good time for motivated sellers, huh?
Yes. It's a perfect time. And again, that's why I pull up that 0-7 day, because it lets those sellers know that there are people out there still buying. And a lot of times they just, because there's nobody telling them the information, all they're seeing is what's on the news, that all businesses are shut down. They don't realize that real estate is still essential and that buyers are still looking, taking advantage. And I tell them, I had a VA client that got a 2.75%. They locked it in 2 weeks ago. I'm letting everybody know. He got a 2.75%. 2 years ago it was at 5%. I don't know that it's going to go any lower than this. So if you're looking to buy, now is the time to buy. And I'm telling the sellers that as well. These buyers, especially the first-time home buyers, are taking advantage of that. That's a big difference in your mortgage from 2.75 to 5. And if you can go ahead and qualify now, go ahead and do it. So yes, if they're motivated, or even if they're on a fence, but you give them that information about where the market stands and that buyers are still buying, then it kind of helps tip them over. And then once you throw in the safety pieces, again, if they're motivated, they'll jump. Anything else?
I think you make a good point, Angela, in that a lot of it is educating them, because they hear what else is going on out there, and that scare tactic. And when you share with them, it can be safe and what is truly going on in the market, even if they don't decide right then and there, once they mull it over, they're going to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
If they've even considered it, they're going to realize this is the right time to do it.
Yeah, and it's all about, the whole listing presentation is all about education. It's all about explaining to them what we as professionals are going to do to get that property sold, regardless of the market. And so we need to make sure, because that's the most important piece right now for sellers, the market, we need to make sure that we're talking about that. We can't gloss over it and pretend like it's not happening. So we want to address the fact that yes, there are less buyers out there, but there are also less sellers out there. And so you're in a great position, if it's in good condition, we're priced right, to go ahead and get under contract for that perfect buyer who's out there. Not everybody's going to bite, but again, it's great information that they weren't aware of beforehand, and it gives them an opportunity to have something fresh other than the doom and gloom that they're seeing online and in the media. And when I'm talking and when I'm making my calls, I get a lot of people who are like, really? People are out there? See, yeah, I mean, we're still working. We're doing it safely, but we're still working. And that's what I'm going to do for you. And so people are still out there. Not everybody shut down. Not everybody's job is affected by Corona, and people still have to move. And so once you just have a conversation with them and let them know that, then it kind of eases their fears and their anxieties about being on the market. The other thing that you can let them know is days on market aren't really being counted right now. So if we're on the market now, or when we're on the market now, that's the only time that we're going to get a buyer. We can't get a buyer for your home if you're not up for sale. So we're going to put the house on the market for the sake of getting a buyer. But also, if it takes a little bit longer, that house won't look as stale as it would have in January. So if I list a house today and it doesn't get any bites until June, let me knock on wood and not say that out loud. But if it doesn't get any bites, that seller understands why. The seller understands it's the market that we're in. So it makes those conversations afterwards a lot easier. And it's like, you know, We just don't have as many buyers. We will get the buyer, we just don't have as many buyers. So it may take a little longer. We may not get that 4 days on market. It may actually take 3 weeks, but we're going to get somebody. It may not be as quickly as before, but we're going to get someone. So it allows you that built-in conversation when your follow-up calls on how's it going? Do we have any showings? How was the open house? How was this? Listen, in this climate, there are buyers still out there. It just may take a little longer to get it done.
Any other concerns or questions that you have regarding the listing appointment, either the prep or the actual appointment itself? Yes, we do love our Angela.
Thank you.
Very appreciative of her and her time. Anything else? So you guys are all ready to go rock and roll and go get some listings. Oh, I saw Janice's hand going up. Christine's smiling. Yeah, Kelly's ready. All right, perfect. So,
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, Janice.
I'm looking at all my notes. I have a big spread that y'all can't see. So, you know, the 14-point marketing plan and all of that we've been told, do you even cover all that during these appointments?
I do, and that's in the conversation that we have. So actually, I'm going to pull this screen up. Thank you for bringing that up.
And Janice, the answer is it's relative based on the person. So Angela's going to tell you yes. I'm going to tell you, yeah, no, I don't really, because people they know I'm going to take care of it. So so it's just a decision on what you're going to do.
You base everything that you do on the client. And that's one of the things that I tell them when I'm on the phone with them, that listen, my marketing plan is specific to the house. There's a one size fit all marketing, but I let them know I want to see the house. I'm going to work specifically to get your home sold. So this is a generic list that I have. I don't share this with them, but these are points that I talk to them about. And so this is after my listing appointment, the things that I do in preparation for getting the property on the market. So I talk about the listing, the marketing. I talk about how social media, Facebook, Keller Williams, all the different platforms that we're going to use. And I'll walk through this with them. Again, in person, I don't show this particular form. There's other forms that I do have in my packet. I have a folder with information that I provide. And so that's what I will email to them instead of giving them the folder. So they'll have it. One of the forms I have is what I'll do for you. And it talks about our communication schedule and open house plans and marketing plans. I'll talk to them about that so they know that I'm working for them, but it's not something that I go in and say, okay, number 4 is this, number 5 or number 19. We're not doing, all of that's more conversational. So you'll get, as you talk to more people, some people don't care. You handle it, I don't care what you do, just get it sold. And other people want to know, okay, on Friday, what are you doing specifically to get my house sold? So it really depends on the person. But yes, if it is something that I'm going to present, I'm going to talk about it conversationally. I'm going to email it to them, and I'm going to have it up on the screen.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question. That was a good question.
Any others you can think of? Now's your time to pick her brain.
Hey, Angela, it's Christine.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you getting your supplies, your masks and gloves? Do you order them online?
My mother's a nurse, and she freaked out when I told her that I was going out without a mask and gloves. So she sent me 2 boxes of gloves and a bag full of masks. They're surgical masks, and they suck because
they're there.
They're there, but when I'm talking, so the intention, I guess, is just to shut up. It's just to cover your mouth. But when I'm meeting with someone and I'm talking, it moves. So I constantly have to use my tongue to pull it down. So I'm like, I'm just pulling it down. Fortunately, the mask covers it so they don't see it, but it moves a lot. So I told her that it sucks, and now she's going to buy me, she's finding some more masks. So I don't know where to get them from because my mother is sending them to me. Because I was like, I'm fine. I don't need a mask. And
There's lots of agents that, well, not a lot, but I know several people that are making the masks, not necessarily for clients, but like if you needed one, you could have some
Yeah.
made.
Oh, I have them. I just wonder where you're getting them to put in your listings.
yeah, my mother sent them. Well, she got them from work because she's a nurse and because there's a shortage, she can't get any more. So we're looking now for the N95, but the surgical masks were the ones that I have in the house, and those were the cheap ones that she got from the hospital.
And quite honestly, when you let people know that they're going to be required to be masked, people show up with supplies.
9 times out of 10, they're going to have their stuff already because they're walking out with their mask and for their own safety and protection. And I would rather have my own mask than trust somebody else's mask in a house where there's dust and particles or whatever. So it's there, but I don't have a lot there because most of the time people are going to have their own.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you can think of, y'all? When you do have a listing, one thing you probably want to do, depending on how many showings that you've got, is check the house, depending on if it's vacant or not. Check it afterwards if it's vacant, and disinfect all of the light switches and all of the handles. And if it's occupied, encourage your client to do that as soon as they get home, first thing. And that way it just helps keep the possibility of infection and spreading infection down. Okay, cool. Anything else? All right, so no excuses. Let's go out there and get us some listings, shall we?
Yes.
Go take your unfair advantage now while everybody else is in scare mode, right?
And I talked to just to say one quick thing. I talked to a guy this morning. He said it was an expired and 2 other people had called him. And prior to when I was doing expires, it's like, oh, you're the 20th person. And so a lot of people aren't working. Just kind of throwing that out there. A lot of people aren't working. So for you to show that you're actually working sets you apart.
That is so true. So true. So definitely take advantage of your unfair share now while nobody else is working. All right, Angela, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being here, y'all. On the 29th, we've got Kevin Jackson, who's going to be doing some command stuff, which is going to be awesome. And then on Thursday, we've got Magdalena, who's doing a virtual open house. She's going to go through all of her steps that she does on creating a virtual open house, so you don't want to miss that. So we got some good stuff coming up this week. We'll look forward to seeing you then, okay?
Thanks, Angela.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.